This traditional Middle Eastern grocery is painted to match the distinctive red, white, black, and green of the Palestinian flag. That very flag hangs over a meat counter inside. It's often flown at rallies for the terrorist group Hamas. But this isn't the West Bank or Gaza. It's Hilliard, Ohio, a sleepy suburb of Columbus. It seems an unlikely battleground in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, but support for the Palestinian cause runs deep.
Our foreign policy in the Middle East stinks. It's needed tune-up, and we're going to speak about it, whether people like it or not.
Palestinian native Mahmoud El-Youssef writes about Muslim issues. He served 20 years in the U.S. military, and his son is serving in Iraq now.
We are God-fearing, law-abiding American citizens. We love this country. We want to work together for the common good of our national defense.
Patrick Poole isn't so sure. A writer and consultant on terrorism-related issues, he returned to the Columbus area recently after a 10-year absence.
After a decade away, to come back, seeing all the changes that Hilliard had gone through, and then to come to find out that we are essentially a center of jihad, one of the hottest centers of jihad in the country, was just mind-blowing.
Columbus is no stranger to Islamic radicalism. Members of an al-Qaeda cell attended this local mosque. Two of the men were convicted on federal terrorism charges. One plotted to bring down the Brooklyn Bridge. Another planned to blow up a local shopping mall. Federal law enforcement officials say other members of the cell are still on the loose. That al-Qaeda cell was one of the largest yet discovered in America. El-Youssef says he and other local Muslims condemn those involved. But Poole says support for two other terror groups is widespread among Columbus Muslims.
Hamas and Hezbollah and everything going on in Israel are really the linchpin issues of radicalization here in Columbus.
According to Poole, there's a budding Hamas support network in the area. He says much of this network leads back to one man, Dr. Salah Sultan.
I discovered that Dr. Salah Sultan, a very prominent international cleric who's closely associated with Yusuf Qaradawi, was living right around the corner from my own home.
Qaradawi is listed by the U.S. as a specially designated global terrorist. He's openly advocated suicide bombings against Israeli civilians. He's also called on Muslims to fight U.S. troops in Iraq. Terrorism expert Stephen Emerson has followed Sultan and Qaradawi's activities closely.
Sultan is an acolyte of Qaradawi. And Qaradawi is a leader of the Muslim Brotherhood who has called for killing Americans and Jews.
The relationship is so close that Sultan joined in honoring Qaradawi this summer in Qatar. That's Sultan sharing the stage with Qaradawi and the leader of Hamas, Khaled Mashal.
So the fact that Sultan is hanging out with these men indicates exactly where he stands.
Qaradawi is a leader of the Muslim Brotherhood, a jihadist movement that seeks to establish worldwide Islamic law. An exclusive interview with Salah Sultan was featured on the Brotherhood's website last year. El-Youssef told CBN News Sultan is a Muslim scholar. He says Sultan's views are not extreme, and that he even supports women's rights in countries like Saudi Arabia.
This came from Salah Sultan's mouth, the man who's accused by Patrick Poole, extremists and support terrorism.
Sultan's views on 9/11 are more problematic. He told Saudi TV the attacks were planned by the U.S. government.
لكن الموضوع كله موضوع كبير تم التخطيط له من داخل الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية حتى يمكن السيطرة على العالم وإرهاب العالم كله.
Sultan recently left his home in an affluent Columbus suburb. He now lives in the tiny Persian Gulf nation of Bahrain. His application for U.S. citizenship was denied after he appeared at a Hamas rally in Turkey last summer. But he's still allowed to enter the U.S. and move around freely. Sultan agreed to a phone interview with CBN News, but later canceled. This used to be the site of Hilliard's public library. Now it's home to Sunrise Academy, a K-8 Islamic school. Salah Sultan lectured here on a regular basis. Siraj Wahaj also appeared here recently. He's an unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. El-Youssef says Sultan and other Muslims in Columbus have been singled out unfairly since 9/11.
Most Muslims I know are professional here, doctors, lawyers, engineers, grocers, school teachers, who love this country, who left overseas because of religious persecution and stuff. They want to be here for a better life. They're not here to betray America and stab it in the back.
Emerson says that's exactly the case with Salah Sultan.
Salah Sultan has made incredibly incendiary comments about Jews, about jihad. This is not someone we want in the United States.
In Columbus, Ohio, Eric Stakelbeck, CBN News.